My boyfriend kicked me out of my apartment at 3 in the morning. Is this normal? Disclaimer is not my story time. My boyfriend is extremely insecure. Let me start off by saying I have never cheated on him, but he accuses me of it every single day. If I go to the gym, if I go to the supermarket, doesn't matter where I go, he's always thinking that I'm trying to look for guys. A couple of days he accused me of it again. I showed him proof that I was at my mother's house. He got so angry that he started yelling at me. And he yelled for 2 hours. I'm not exaggerating. My neighbor knocked on our door and asked if I was okay. That's when my boyfriend pushed me out the door and locked me out. It was 3 in the morning. My neighbor, who's my age, asked me to come over to my place and I said no. I needed to get back into my apartment, the apartment that I pay rent for. I knocked on the door for an hour and he still wouldn't open. By the way, I was just wearing a t-shirt. I had no shoes on, no phone. I finally knock on my neighbor's door and she lets me sleep in her place. An hour later, my boyfriend comes knocking on the door insisting that I come home. When I went back into my apartment, there was broken glass everywhere. Then he started apologizing for breaking my dishes, not for the fact that he kicked me out of my apartment at 3 in the morning. You won't believe it, but things got even worse. I go to my bedroom and what do I see? Go to part 2. My boyfriend kicked me out of my apartment at 3 in the morning. Is that normal? Disclaimer, this is not my story time. He finally lets me back into my apartment. I see a bunch of broken dishes on the floor. He casually apologizes and tells me to go to bed. When I walk into my bedroom, my clothes were everywhere. Mind you, I have very expensive clothes. I have a lot of designer, Fendi, Gucci, and as I got closer to some of my dresses, I could see that he had taken scissors and cut them up. I couldn't believe it. He then flat out denied that he did that. He said that there must have been a demon in my apartment. I asked him to leave and he wouldn't. I just cried myself to sleep. The next morning, I woke up to a weird sound. Luckily, he had already left. He wrote me an apology letter and showed up to my apartment with breakfast 20 minutes later. That's when he said that he had never acted that way before and that he was sorry. But I was traumatized. I let him in with the breakfast. I kept hearing something in my closet. He told me to just ignore it. It was like a really weird noise, but it would stop and then start again. He told me that it must have been something in the walls. Then he told me that he believed me, that I wasn't cheating on him. I even told him that he should just turn on my location so he could see where I am at all times. I know this isn't normal, but guys do get jealous, right? Ended up working things out and he went to work. And he promised he wouldn't do it again. That little noise started up again in my closet. But when I opened my closet, I saw a robotic teddy bear. It had 2 bulging eyes and I had never seen it before. It was just moving around my closet making noise. When I picked it up, it was all wet. I called my boyfriend and asked him if he put it there. That's when he said, no, I told you there's a demon in your apartment. He texted me later saying it was actually a gift for me. I don't know what to make of it. It's a weird looking bear. It turns on randomly and starts saying things like, I love you. My boyfriend is on his best behavior though. He hasn't accused me of anything and we haven't fought in over a week. In fact, he's been bringing me lunch and bought me all the dishes that he broke. He even took me to Gucci to replace the dress he cut up. I haven't told my friends or family because I'm kind of embarrassed. Do you guys think this is normal?
Am I wrong for posting videos of my niece and nephew misbehaving in response to my sister's complaints that I did not want them at my birthday dinner? My sister Angel claims to use hands-off parenting with my niece Sophia and nephew Parker. In actuality, Angel is entirely permissive and refuses to discipline them. She expects other adults to step in when Sophia and Parker's behavior is getting out of hand. For this reason, I asked Angel to get a babysitter for Sophia and Parker if she wanted to attend my 27th birthday. I love Sophia and Parker as their aunt, but at the same time, I want a peaceful evening to celebrate my birthday instead of dealing with Sophia and Parker's behavior because I know Angel isn't going to discipline them herself. Angel acted understanding when I made this request and explained my reasons to her in person, but then she went online and made a Facebook post accusing me of hating Sophia and Parker and trying to punish Angel by only inviting our sister Jessica's kid, Megan, to my birthday dinner. Never mind that Megan is 17 and is practically an adult herself. The fact that she went to social media to air out your family drama shows the type of person that she is. I'm already on your side. Several of our relatives and mutual acquaintances called me out and said that I was an asshole and was excluding a 10 and 7-year-old. I responded to Angel's post by sharing 2 videos of Sophia and Parker misbehaving while Angel did nothing. The first video was a recording taken by Megan where Sophia and Parker were throwing tantrums and yelling at her. Megan was trying to calm Sophia and Parker down while Angel was on her tablet ignoring the situation. The other video was one that Angel took. Sophia and Parker were yelling, throwing toys at each other, and Parker even called his sister a bad word. Angel was laughing as if it were funny and was again doing nothing to discipline Sophia or Parker. I wrote alongside the videos that I love Sophia and Parker as their aunt, but at the same time I want a peaceful evening to celebrate my birthday, and I don't want to be stuck disciplining Sophia and Parker because clearly Angel won't. Angel ended up not coming to my birthday at all. My parents told me that I was in the wrong for sharing those videos because everyone's children have acted up and posting those videos didn't accomplish anything besides embarrassing Angel. They also said I could have compromised by having a nobody under 18 rule for my birthday dinner. Megan would not have been able to attend, but Sophia and Parker wouldn't feel excluded. I do not see how that would be fair to myself or Megan. So, am I the asshole for not wanting to make a compromise for my birthday dinner?
I've been betrayed by a lot of people, but nothing hurts more than being disappointed by the person you thought would never hurt you. Growing up, I was never interested in getting married or having children. My parents' marriage was a disaster. I saw the things my dad did to my mom, and I saw how my mom wasted away because of that and become the shell of her former self. My dream was just to go to school, pursue a career, get a good job, and just have fun and live life without any commitment. But I got pregnant when I was just in level 100 of uni, and my dad, who has never been a loving father, threw me out of the house into the streets because he said I have tarnished this name. Now, a little background story. I've been dating the man who impregnated me for about a year. I wouldn't even call it dating. I would say we were just having fun. Like I said before, I'm not very big on commitment. Now, this guy was just a sales guy working in one of my father's stores. He's a very good looking guy, and I think that is one of the reasons why I started seeing him. I made it clear in the beginning that I was not interested in a relationship, and he agreed. Even though I was still not interested in pursuing a relationship with him, he became my best friend in no time. He was the one I told about my dreams and aspirations. He knew I didn't want to ever have a child. He knew I wanted to travel all over the world. He was my main man, my body. When I realized I was pregnant, I went straight to the clinic in hopes I could abort it, but they told me it was too late. I was already 4 months pregnant. Surprisingly, I was menstruating throughout, and because I always use protection when I sleep with John, I didn't even know I was pregnant till it was too late. I moved in with John after my father threw me out, and he welcomed me with open arms. Unfortunately, I couldn't go back to school, so I ended up working as a cashier in a company to support John look after the baby. I was depressed throughout my pregnancy and after I gave birth. This was never what I wanted to do with my life. Even though things were bad, having John by my side made things easier. He was there for me throughout. Now, fast forward 5 years later, our son is now 4 years. I'm still a cashier, but I'm thinking of going back to school. I feel it's not too late to pursue my dreams. But John thinks it's a bad idea for me to go back to school. He said I should be content with the life God has given me. He wants us to get married and live as a happy family with the little that we have. But that is not what I want. I want more. And I still don't want to get married. We had an argument about this one day, and he came back home very drunk. We started arguing again. That is when he told me intentionally pierce the condoms he used when he slept with me to get me pregnant and humble me. He said I always acted like I was better than him. His face changed all of a sudden when he realized he has messed up. He went down on his knees and begged me to forgive him. But I was just stunned and shocked, and I couldn't move. He knew I didn't want this life, yet he purposefully forced me into it. And he did all this just to humble me. Just because I said I didn't want to get married or have a child. I've moved out of the house, and even though he wants to get back together, I don't want to have anything to do with him. I feel so betrayed. How could he change my life so drastically? And I thought he was the one person who has always been there for me. This is why I never wanted to rely on anyone else. I'm so disappointed in myself for falling into his trap. Right now, I'm just hurt and numb.
This is quite possibly the sweetest revenge I have ever heard of. So there was this really beautiful girl in my school, we'll call her Amy, and she was one of those popular girls. And my best friend Steve had the biggest crush on Amy. He asked her out so many times, but she was literally just always busy. I kind of felt a little bit like, at what point, Steve, are we going to take the hint? However, that being said, she didn't really discourage him though. I personally just think she liked the attention. So one day, my friend Steve ended up getting some tickets to a sold out Harry Styles concert. He'd bought them from a friend last minute that had to go out of town for an emergency. So Mike immediately called the girl of his dreams, Amy, and she immediately accepted because, let's face it, who is passing on Harry Styles tickets? When I tell you, I have literally never seen Steve happier. Okay, so fast forward to the night of the concert. So they were both stood outside the concert just getting their merch. Amy suddenly turned around and was like, oh, there's my friend, I'm just going to go say hi, I'll be right back. And you guessed it, she in fact did not come right back. So Steve went into the concert and he was like, well, I'll just sit here and wait for when she comes back. Because realistically, that's the only place she's going to be able to find him again now. So Steve sat for the whole show and she literally never came back. Now, Steve is literally the biggest gentleman. Even after she ditched him for like the entire concert, he still waited for her in the car park afterwards to take her home. Boy is literally the sweetest. And obviously, she didn't come out, she wasn't there, she wasn't answering her phone. So Steve left, obviously feeling very hurt. So she did end up ringing him the next day. Apparently, the friend that she'd seen was actually her ex. She then went on to say that she'd had a really good talk with her ex and how they had sorted so much stuff out. She said that they had just lost track of time. And it turns out that she didn't even watch any of the concert. She stood outside and just spoke to her ex the whole time. And then Steve, he accepted her apology and he asked if they could give it another go and try again. And she said yeah. And she even said that she was shocked at how nice and forgiving he was with it all. Oh, Amy, you better wait, girl. So next Saturday is date night. Steve had booked this unreal seafood restaurant that was about an hour up the coast. He was polite and chatty the whole way there, and in a very clever move, he made the reservation in her name. They were seated, Steve ordered a really expensive, nice bottle of wine. Now, he told her to treat herself. So Amy goes ahead and orders loads of expensive stuff off the menu. Halfway through the meal, their bill was at $300. So then Steve excused himself to go use the toilet, and he made sure to use the line, "I'll be right back." And at that point, Steve walked out the restaurant into the car park and drove away, leaving Amy with the bill and without a ride home.